Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We're going to give everybody just a few seconds here while we do the 5 ways to navigate buying your next RV coming up here in just a second. Bringing in an expert too. He's going to join us at the screen over here. But yeah, 5 ways to navigate buying your next RV. While you're getting logged in and acclimated, find the chat area. It's going to be the place we're going to do some shout outs. Tell us what city you're watching from. Some of you, it's probably morning. And so I'm actually down at RV Wholesalers today in the Columbus, Ohio area, about 45 minutes northwest of Columbus, Ohio, Lakeview, Ohio. And look who just joined us, Lane Wisner. Thank you, Lane, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it's a little crazy. I appreciate you coming in to help us answer like the tough questions. In fact, guys, come up with some really tough ones for this guy. So he has RVs, he's camped, he grew up on a farm. I mean, this guy can answer any of those questions. So, so let's throw some winners at him. All right, so we got some cool people coming in from all over the place. Man, we've got Scott and Rhonda and Gary and Tammy. Gary's in Hollywood, Maryland. That sounds cool. A little cooler than where it is right now.
Hot here. Phoenix, Arizona.
Tammy in North Carolina. Yeah. Tara out in Milwaukee. Man, we got Ella in Phoenix. Yeah, Rhonda. Kansas City. We have Rhonda in Florida. Georgia, Scott. Greetings, guys. Tony in North Carolina. A whole bunch of you guys. Can't wait to help you out. That's kind of the goal here. That's the guys from RV Wholesalers said, hey, Tim, can you and Lane help us out today? Both the owners, Mike Durnell and David Durnell, were school teachers by trade, high school. And when they got into the RV industry, they still have that teacher's heart, like, hey, let's help people, let's educate people. There's no reason everybody can't succeed. So when they buy an RV, let's do the same thing. So obviously we can't sell 600,000 RVs or whatever it's going to be sold this year, right? Like,
right.
So
no,
that would keep you a little too busy.
Yeah, no, it's a ton of them. We can't sell them all, but we can try to help.
So no matter where you need to buy your RV, this will be helpful information for you guys. So, man, lots of new people. Mary out in Arizona, Barry in North Carolina. Hello, all. And Lisa from North Olmsted, Ohio, right here in Ohio. Nice. Cool. So check out the river, 5 ways to navigate buying your next RV. That's kind of like the analogy. I think you and I will be sitting on the back of this rubber raft, and our guests here will be up in the front. And we're going to, you've got a lot more experience even than I have, but between the two of us, running lots of webinars and shows and hearing lots of questions, and you selling lots of trailers and helping people, we're going to be able to navigate this boat safely down the river. Like, this is our goal right here. Like, let's just have some fun. It's rough out there, and like, it's crazy. Actually, it really is crazy. Definitely. And when we're going to talk about pricing, you'll see what we're talking about. Like, I'm glad you took the time to invest this hour with us. I think it'll be well worth the time. And so this is what we don't want to happen to you. And that's why we're here to guide through the rapids, and hopefully not the rapids, but through the white water. So actually, today's my anniversary, and tomorrow we're taking a little family vacation heading down to the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter just signed, her and I are going to do a whitewater rafting trip this week. So I'm excited. Like, not only are we get to camp and do some whitewater rafting. So you guys can do all this kind of fun stuff once you get your RV. So
right.
Let's help them. Oh yeah. So this is my first RV as a kid. My dad built this thing, and up in British Columbia, Canada. I like to say RVs saved my life, because when I woke up one morning after sleeping inside here around the campground that my family had slept outside in, were bear tracks. I was like really grateful for an RV from day one. So anyways, let's dive right in. I think it's important that they ask for the out the door price.
Right.
And let's talk about pricing. This is going to get a little bit, there's a lot to go through between hidden fees and the new pricing that's going on, like price increases, and then how people are setting prices is just crazy. So Lane, I want you to start explaining some of this.
Take it over. Right. So, I mean, right now in the industry, it's a complete and utter craziness, needless to say. Right now there's no inventory. Everybody's ordering a camper. If you want a camper, the order needs to be placed ASAP. They're at least 6 months out in terms of order times, and most campers are coming in 7 to 8 months, realistically.
Yeah, this just being straight up. I mean,
and that's the
people
only
probably
thing.
won't tell you that, but
and that's the only thing that, with the dealerships that are out there, there's a lot of dealerships that are still quoting what the manufacturers are saying. Hey, look, your camper will be 6 to 8 weeks, and that's just incorrect. I mean, there's nothing but a bold-faced lie on that side. I mean, I've got proof and evidence of these campers that I helped customers out with way back in November that are just now getting their campers. And so
well, I just got right before I walked in here. Charlie just drove all the way from Oregon to pick up his camper. He ordered it in December, and he's really excited about it. Grateful that he got it in that amount of time, compared to what some of the people.
And this is the kind of the craziness that we're dealing with right now. And, it's contributed to a lot of different things. And obviously the influx of interest in camping. A ton of first-time camper buyers are out there wanting campers and things like that. But also, whatever your beliefs are on the whole coronavirus and everything like that is pretty much null and void. It has played a factor in these manufacturers with the fact that they haven't been able to get products. On top of that, it's hard to keep the workforce labor there. Again, regardless of political beliefs or anything like that, people are getting paid enough money to stay home and not work than they would be if they actually went to work and decided, to stay there. So now the manufacturers have to pay more money to get these people to come in and work. And then on top of that, once they are there, obviously, they're able to start running production and things like that. So again, this is all just, the only way I like talking to people is straightforward and brutally honest. So, again, I truly apologize if I ever offend anyone with the statement that I say. Definitely not the intentions. It's just to basically just bring hard, cold evidence that says, hey, listen, this is what's going on. So, with the increase in basically the production of these campers with, lumber, aluminum, labor, as I already mentioned, and things like that, with the increase in this pricing, you're going to also notice that you're going to see that the pricing of these campers go sky high. This time to last year, one of the more notorious toy haulers out there, XLR, for example, they've gone up a total of 37%, 36%, something like that over the course of 8 months. That's a lot of money.
Say it again.
36%.
36%
over the course of 8 months.
Which is something you'd see maybe over 10 years probably.
Oh, absolutely. Normally you would see something like that over the course of, 10 years, because realistically, up until this point, see, I've been doing this for 6 years, right? And so up until these last year and a half, you'll notice that the manufacturer increased their price 4 times a year, okay? The first one was, Happy New Year, you got a price increase.
That's like Isla said. She said, happy anniversary, happy blessed anniversary to me. It's like, happy anniversary, Tim. We just increased the price.
Exactly. The next one is, congratulations, it's camping season, got you again. Okay, and so you got the beginning of March price increase. The calendar year for campers is actually in September. Okay. So a lot of people think that the calendar year actually switches over at the beginning of the year. That's actually not the case. All of their new products and inventory and things like that actually come out in September, just before the slower season comes up. There, September, October, November, December, the winter months, things like that are technically considered the slower season, right? And so they actually implement all these new changes. They have a big shutdown in September. They'll implement these changes, and then they'll open back up, and now they have all the new product line, right? So basically new product, new pricing, so you get a new price increase, right? And then, to kind of piggyback off of that third price increase, you're going to notice that all of the model years actually happen right about now. Okay. July, August timeframe is when your model years are going to actually switch.
So right now we're in 2022s are getting ready to roll.
Yeah, so 2022s are starting to roll off the lot. We've seen a few of them come through here. Different manufacturers are going to have different timelines of when they actually roll out there, just because they already have the VINs for the units that are 2021. So you're going to see, since the manufacturer produces, since their model year changes in September, but the actual number actually changes back in July, August timeframe, you're going to notice that there's about a 2-month gap where you're going to have new models, new 2022s that have old features. Okay. And then after September, you're going to see the 2022s that have the new features.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of phased in.
Yes, okay. It's kind of phased in. As they run out of things, that's when they start implementing these new things. So it's not like hey, hard cutoff 2022, hard cutoff 2021, hard cutoff 2020. It's not a hard cutoff. You're going to see mixtures of all these different kinds of campers. So when you're price checking and price, shopping and things like that, you got to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples to apples and not apples to oranges to bananas. Okay.
Good point.
Because again, you could have a old model 2022, a new model 2022, and a new model 2021 on the backside of that, which the 21 and the 22 are the same thing, except model year difference, just the number changed. And obviously that brings in, revenue there because obviously it costs more for a newer camper in theory. But then you're going to also have the changeover of the model switch where basically they change over all of the new features that they implement or talked about implementing back in July. So that all being said, that was the third price increase. And the fourth price increase is obviously Merry Christmas, more price increases. So 4 price increases every year. Now, over the past year and a half, guys, we've had about every 2 weeks. Okay, so about every 2 weeks we've got a price increase. Okay,
not for the same.
No, not for the same amount.
Just you're
not
the
for
same
the same
because
amount.
You have 20 some different.
Exactly, and we've got 20 some different deals out here. And again, not every single. Let's just use Rockwood for example. Rockwood's not increasing the price every 2 weeks by 6%. Okay. Usually when they increase the price, you are going to see about a 6% increase each and every time that they do increase the price. Now, each model, each line like Rockwood, Wildwood, Redwood, each model, you're going to see them probably increase their price about once a month. Okay, they send out new pricing about once a month. That's probably when you're going to see those price increases come up. But nonetheless, they are implementing them ahead of time saying, hey, by the way, I know we haven't sent you these price increases yet, but plan on 6%, plan on 10%, plan on 12%. FSX just this month alone actually went up 10% on their campers, where they used to be a $15,000 camper are now selling in the low 20s. Now, granted, they've implemented new things to help kind of justify the differences there, but at the same time, that's essentially what's going on there. Now, I know Tony said something about talking about used units as well.
Yeah, we're going to dive into that in just a minute.
Okay, cool. So that's essentially what you're going to be seeing in terms of the pricing, why it's so fluctuating, kind of the behind the scenes as to why you see pricing go sky high, right? Now, starting with the question, it says ask for the out the door price, right? That is all fine and dandy, but out the door price is a very it can be kind of adjusted. Okay, my out the door price could only include all the fees that I include, plus the price of the camper. Your out the door price could be the taxes, title, licensing, all fees, and the camper. So really, it's not asking for the out the door price, but it's more of asking for all fees included.
All inclusive.
What am I going to pay for this camper? What's my all fees included price? Taxes, title, licensing, dealer prep, and we'll get into these other fees that may be coming up here as well. Mm-hmm. But it's asking for that. Now, the biggest thing right now, though, guys, is we have to ask if the order is going to be price protected.
Yes. Okay. Say that again. That's really important.
The biggest thing right now is to ask if these camper orders are price protected.
Okay. So say today I'm out here on the lot looking around. I see one I like, or I'm on the website. I see the one that, hey, this fits our family. We need this. Our towing capacity is right. All the little things that you're going to do before you pick your one. And then I say, that's the one I want. Here's my deposit. And that's when I need to ask what?
Yeah. So that's when you need to ask, before you hand me that deposit, I need you to ask me, what is my all fees included price?
Okay. So and is it going to be
ordered or in stock?
And it'll be protected.
And will it be protected? So really the protection really comes into play when we're ordering these campers, okay? See, the manufacturer, they don't price protect dealers, okay? So just because you signed a contract with the dealer really does nothing for the manufacturer, for the relationship between the manufacturer and the dealer. I'll get on screen. Manufacturer and dealer, and then there's you over here, okay? There's a connection here, and there's a connection here. Dealer staying in the middle. Now, when you guys sign a contract right here, the customer and the dealer, you guys sign a contract, you guys are now in contract, right? You guys have locked your guys' price. Everything's good, right? But this connection over here does not price protect, okay? So let's say, for instance, this entire camper deal, right, is $20,000, okay? You have a $5,000 markup, so the consumer's now paying $25,000 for this camper, okay? But what you're going to see is that you signed the contract at $25,000, and now the dealer is going to order this camper for you at $20,000. They order the camper, they place the order at $20,000.
Yeah.
But over the course of the next 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months, each month they got a 6% price increase. Okay. Now, what is that dealership going to do? Because now I don't know the math, but let's just say that the price increased a total of $5,000 to dealer X. Okay.
So now the dealer's paying $25,000 instead of $20,000.
Exactly. Now the dealership's paying $25,000
because the dealer doesn't pay the manufacturer until it comes off the line,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
They don't pay the manufacturer until it comes off the line. Your guys' deposits to order the campers is really just a good faith to the dealership that you guys are in this for the long haul. Okay. It's not basically they're not taking that deposit and sending it to the manufacturer and saying, hey, here's the $1,000 deposit. Let's get on a payment plan and we'll pay you as the camper's being built.
Well, with as many orders too, right? It's those ones that have a deposit attached to them, a real order to a real person, that they move that to the front of the line.
Exactly.
Not that that's a short line,
Exactly.
but it goes up to the front of the line versus all the stock units that they start making for the dealers just to hold on their lot. That's why instead of you guys having 600 RVs sitting out here, you don't.
Exactly.
Have that many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and so in this situation, guys, say again that price went up $5,000, and now the dealership's paying $25,000. They already contracted with you at $25,000. Now, I'm no mathematician out there, but that leaves no profit. Okay, and so that being said, that means that the dealership now is going to come back to the consumer and say, "Listen, I got charged more. Now you'll get charged more." Okay. And that's essentially what happens. Now you have shady dealers that if the price increase was $5,000 between them and the manufacturer, they're going to charge you $10,000. Now I'm making more profit. I didn't just make $5,000. Now I'm making $10,000. A lot of shady dealers out there are doing that.
Well, I heard one dealer that's what he made a call. He's like, and it was just a small price increase. It went up $700. Instead of eating it, the dealers called the guy and said, "Hey, the price went up $1,500. Let's split it in the middle. We'll each eat half of it."
Yep.
Well, he didn't really.
Yeah, he didn't.
And how do you prove? Like, that's the problem. Like, how do you prove it? It's like they're not going to pull out paperwork. I mean, it's so buried in papers that it's not like there's a invoice like a car where it's just here's what the dealer pays.
Yeah, like, exactly. You can't. There's no possible way in doing it. There's no dealership in the entire nation that'll show you the invoice of what they paid for this camper at time of order and then also at time of pickup. They're just not going to do that. And let's be honest, if they really wanted to do that, it's so easy to doctor stuff like that it's just not even worth really looking into it that far. You just want to make sure you're price protected.
Yeah,
that relationship between you and the dealer.
So how does she do that? She signed the contract. Because tell us exactly what you're seeing on the contract, because you've seen sales agreements from other dealerships, right? Yeah, it's very cut and dry in terms of their wording on how they do it. Now, granted, every dealership has their own wording of how they'll go about saying they won't price protect you. But basically in the contract, under the terms and conditions or the deposit or something like that, there's going to be something in there that says price is subject to change upon manufacturer inflation. Something like that. Okay. Price subject to change upon manufacturer surcharge. So that's the fine print that's going to show up somewhere in the sales agreement. It's somewhere in the agreement, whether it be the terms and conditions, the bottom of the purchase agreement. Most of these dealerships, guys, don't even have you specifically sign on it. That's what I've been so surprised. Like how many people I've heard the sales guy saying, they ask for like, "Hey, show me that." And like, well, I just put a deposit down. We don't really have a sales agreement in writing. It's just like, are you kidding? Like, so that's number one. Make sure you have a sales agreement where they spell out exactly what you're getting, all the fees and everything that we're going to dive into here in a second. Mm-hmm. Make sure all that's spelled out so you know exactly what's expected. Yeah, and to answer one of the questions here, you said, if I sign a contract, then it should be the price that I signed for, right? And this is let me say this politically correct. I'm not saying it politically correct. This is the old way of thinking, okay? This is the logical thinking, right? If I sign a contract, I pay what the contract says, right? But this is the problem that we're running into with this industry right now. And this is why it's so important to ask for that price protection. Because if you don't, then that contract that you just signed is null and void pretty much, because the manufacturer can and does increase the price to the dealer. Now that dealership can do with it as they wish, because they say on their terms and conditions that you also signed in that same contract that says that the price is adjustable upon manufacturer surcharge or upon manufacturer inflation or upon price increase, whatever it is, guys,
If it does not specifically say in their terms and conditions that you are price protected, don't sign anything. Because let's put it into an example.
I mean, what else would you buy? I mean, I can't think of anything else you would buy or order.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, just charge me whatever you want when it comes.
That's essentially what you're saying. When you sign something like that, you're basically saying, hey, I really don't care what the price ends up being. Just let me know when it comes in.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you're willing to wait 4, 5, 6 months on a camper that you thought was going to be $30,000, ends up it's $45,000.
Well, and that's where they have you, right?
Done.
Because
they got you.
You waited. You're excited. You probably came. You got your vacation planned. You've got your kids there. They pick out the bunks. I mean, it's showtime. And then you get hit with this, like, that much more? Is it really that much more?
But
it's
why?
Like, and they'll get back your deposit, which is nice of them.
Yeah,
because they've got 5 other people that are in line. Like, they'll take it. And when they say that, like, hey, no problem. You can walk away. No worries. Here's your deposit. We've got 5 more people that'll buy this if you don't. And at that point, it's like, well, I'm not going to wait another 6 months.
Yeah. What do? You either pull out the credit card and put it on the credit card, or you walk away, but then you're reordering with another dealership that is price protecting and waiting some time. Now, granted, guys, all of this being said and done, it's not saying that you can't buy from these other dealers and things like that. You just got to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, right? Me personally, I'm not going to sign a blank check over to a dealership and then wait some time for it to come through as far as the camper to come in. That's just me personally. If you guys are cool with that, you like the people, hey, do what you guys got to do, but just know what you're getting into ahead of time. Try to set up a way to protect yourself against something like this. So that's what when we're talking about these price increases, the price increases are being contributed to the dealer and then passed to the consumer at a very alarming rate, and even more passed to the consumer, being that they actually make more and more. And that's why right now you see a lot of dealerships out there that are these shady dealerships. We're going to talk about these fees. They're doing the same thing with this price protection policy or non-price protection policy.
Right.
They're basically going to sell at a very low cost. Say the camper is a $30,000 camper. They're going to sell it to you at $25,000.
Yeah. Which sounds great.
It sounds great. It's perfect. Hey, I'm saving $5,000, but you're not price protected. And then they're going to hit you over the course of the next 6 months. They're going to start hitting you. Hey, 6% increase. Hey, 12% increase. Hey, 15% increase got contributed this month. Now, when it's all said and done, guys, you guys just ended up paying, for a $30,000 camper, you ended up paying $42,000, and now you're stuck behind the 8 ball. What do you do? You can't. Yeah.
And so some of that hidden fees real quick, some of that is coming in. They're making an extra little bit of profit. Not always a little bit. They're making extra chunks of profit in these areas of these hidden fees. So when you go to pick up your camper, this is what happens. That you sit down to do the final paperwork, they start going over, okay, so there's an extra $1,400 for PDI. What is PDI? That's I just put together a little handout. In fact, if you go to your chat area, find the chat area, you should see a download. It's a 1-page free PDF. Download that so you don't have to write all this down. And we're just going to fly through it. It's spelled out in here, so we don't want to spend too much time. But PDI, what is that?
Yeah, so PDI is pre-delivery inspection. The manufacturer pays the dealerships to basically go through these campers, make sure everything's working properly. If it's not working properly, to go ahead and adjust that to make sure everything's taken care of on that side. But that's essentially
the factory pays them for anything they fix. So it's not like they're not getting their full rate.
Oh,
I mean, it's
they're getting a lot of money for it. I mean,
it's something they shouldn't have to charge you for, because it's kind of like the second wave of quality control that the factory's covering.
Yeah, they've already paid it. See, the manufacturer pays it to the dealers. The dealerships do it. They make the money on it. You should not have to be paying a pre-delivery inspection.
And I can't tell you how many dealerships, 100. I mean, even the big chain of dealerships, camping dealerships all around the world is doing this. I mean,
he's talking about camping. If you guys didn't catch that.
Hey, I'm not allowed to say that. No, whatever. So how much are they charging? I think it's like
pre-delivery,
$1,400.
Pre-delivery inspections, $1,400. Their walkthroughs $1,000.
So a walkthrough is basically where you can spend an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. So you're comfortable with everything, how to light the pilot on the stove. I mean, stuff you want to learn.
Yeah, of course.
You go through with the video camera. But some of these dealerships are charging for that too.
Yeah.
So it's not a hidden fee if you know about it, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. And that's the thing that everybody talks about is like, oh my gosh, I'm getting charged X, Y, and Z. And yeah, who cares? You know what I mean? Right. And I say this with all the respect in the world, okay? So please don't take it the wrong way again. But when we talk about these different fees that are being charged, the problem is when they're hidden, okay? It's not the problem if you're being charged. Shoot, if the camper is $20,000 and I sell it to you for $1 and then have $19,999 in fees on the backside, but you still paid $20,000 over the course of that whole process, it's still a good deal. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter in terms of that side. You just have to know about them, okay? These fees that we're talking about is the fees that you don't know about. You know, again, transportation, you know, it's also called factory freight. And basically what that means is that it's from the cost to get from the dealership or from the manufacturer to the dealership.
Which like 95% of all RVs are manufactured in Elkhart, Indiana. So put that into your map and see how far it is from your dealership or from your house, and you can figure out like what it should cost.
Yeah, it's from point A to point B. It's just strictly the cost to get it from point A to point B. As far as I know, nobody's created this teleportation device yet to where these things just zip from point A to point B.
Well, they can't even put two on a semi, really.
Yeah, and some
for tiny ones.
Yeah, some of those real small ones, you know, I actually know, some of the real small ones, they actually put 3 of them on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But that's about it.
Yeah, and that's going to be it. I mean, the real small ones, you got some of those, smaller ones, small under 20 footers that you can put 2 to a trailer on. But other than that, they're getting pulled like they're going camping with them, guys. So literally, it's being pulled from point A to point B, and that costs money. Okay. And
Cecilia wrote in the private chat asking about factory freight. $995 for a factory freight. That may be good if you're 400 miles away, or
something like that. Indiana. I mean, 400 or 500 miles away from the Elkhart, Indiana. If you're farther than that, again, this is, guys. Again, the biggest thing here when we're talking about these fees, it's not that the fees are bad. Okay, fees are simply a way for the dealership to recoup some of their money that they are losing based on these other things that are going on. The pre-delivery inspection, okay, it does cost money to walk through these campers and make sure everything is working okay. Now, the manufacturer pays that, so you shouldn't be paying that, but nonetheless, it does cost money. Transportation, everybody knows gas prices are going sky high, all right? And so that all being said, transportation does cost money. Environmental service fee is an absolute BS charge. It's something that Camping World charged in one of the locations, so we put it on here. But nonetheless, it's not a real thing, okay? But nonetheless, it's a fee, okay? And so that all being said, it doesn't really matter in terms of what they're charging. It's knowing what you're being charged, and then that point applying it to the price of the camper.
Yes.
And then at that point, doing your research on what the prices look like.
So that brings it apples to apples.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice.
Because that's the biggest thing is what is my price going to be when I go to sit down with the dealership? Now, these people that are hiding the fees, the reason why it's so bad is they actually show up and I'm sitting across from you at the signing table, and then you go to sign everything. Your kids have already walked through the camper. You picked out your bunks. You got the trip plan as soon as you get out of here. And then you guys go to sign the dotted line, and there was this $1,000 PDI charge. And there's this $750 transportation fee. And then there's this environmental service fee, which the guy that you're sitting across from can't even tell you what it is, but that's $500. And then they replace the tires for you because it came all the way here. And then that's another $1,200. Dock and title should be small, like $500 some odd dollars. And so that all being said, all these things add up together. Now you're paying $5,000 more for the camper that you thought was a little bit less than that.
And real quick tip on the transportation, make sure they separate that out so you don't pay sales tax, because you're going to pay sales tax, obviously, you buy anything.
Yep.
You're going to pay it in the county that you reside in, right?
Correct.
The state and county that you reside in. So you're not going to pay the Ohio sales tax if you live in Arkansas, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're strictly going to pay the taxes on the place where you reside in, okay?
But you shouldn't have to pay it on the transportation part.
No, transportation's...
so that's a way to save some extra bucks.
Yeah, transportation's tax deductible. So if you're either having the camper shipped or the factory freight to get it to you, have them subsidize it out so that way you don't have to pay taxes on that additional $995, $1,000, $1,500, whatever.
Trust me, the dealers subsidize it out. They might not show you that they do because that money has to come back to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So just another
little tidbit of information. Just ask that they do that. But again, the biggest thing, guys, is then when you sit across from these people and you find out about all these fees, they play stupid. Okay. And they'll be like, how are we supposed to check to make sure the camper works? You wanted us to do that, right? Well, how are we supposed to do that if we didn't charge you? Well, how are we supposed to get it here? They don't make this big old transportation device that just instantly teleports it from point A to point B. That's what transportation is. But they blame it on you guys, okay? They actually come back on you and say, hey, look, it's your fault, not my fault. You should have asked. But again, guys, if you don't know, you can't ask, right? And so that being said, you will know after all this is said and done. So the biggest thing is to find out about those fees.
All right, real quick before we get into the use stuff, Sharon asks, what if you're buying a camper already on the lot? What fees should you expect to be legitimate?
So a few different things to be legitimate, okay? Factory freight is still a legitimate cost, okay? So that is something that it does cost from point A to point B, even if it's sitting on their lot.
That's the thing. So if you live in California, that dealership has had to pay that $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is, to get it to California
from Indiana.
So he's got to raise his price $4,000 to cover that, and then you see it in a higher price, or he's going to have it as a separate fee that you have to add it in. So
absolutely.
And so no matter what.
Factory freight is a legitimate one. Dock and title is a legitimate one. Each state's different. Each county's different in terms of what they charge for the documentation and title fee. So those two are legitimate fees. Again, the biggest thing though is, and I can't say it enough, the biggest thing is it doesn't really matter what fees they charge you as long as you know about them and as long as you're okay paying them. Okay. When they start coming up with some BS fees with a pat on the back and a handshake fee, that is when we get into some issues. Okay. When the person across from you can't explain to you what these fees are, or the person you're buying it from can't explain what these fees are.
Well, give us an example, because I'm curious on numbers. Like, tell us something that happened in the last week or two that you've heard about.
Last week or two, there was the biggest one. There was a factory surcharge. We're going back to the price protection, okay? But there was a factory surcharge fee of a total of 18%. And it ended up being, it was on a Redwood, so it was $120,000 camper at 18% more. Yeah, do the math on that one. They probably paid about, about $40,000 to $50,000 more just for that camper if they wanted to buy it. And then again, the reason that's this environmental service fees on there is because of me. I had a customer tell me that they were getting charged this, and I said, that's a joke, right? And they said, no. And it was something stupid like $2,600, $2,700 or something like that. So again, it was whatever. I've heard some COVID fees, fees. Lately.
I just want people to realize, like, we're not talking just a couple $1,000s here. Like, I just saw an email come from one of the owners saying, hey, there's a dealership out in California that complained to the manufacturer that you guys were selling the same RV for what?
$60,000 less.
Yeah, $60,000 less. Can you guys discontinue? He's talking to the manufacturer, this guy in California. He asked the manufacturer, can you not allow RV wholesalers to be a dealer any longer because of this? They
wanted to drop us because we were taking care of customers and not overcharging them. And that's what makes total sense, 60, right?
I mean, okay, so I just want you guys to realize, like, we're not just a few $1,000s. Like, it's out of control. Yeah. And so that's why we're really passionate about this.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So thanks for talking about the fees. Obviously, we don't want to limit. We start talking about used. We're going to give some tips on that.
Cecilia asked a question here. She said, can we refuse the walkthrough? And if the manufacturer guarantees it's good to go, we don't have to spend the $995 for the walkthrough. Think about it from this way, okay, Cecilia. When it comes to the manufacturer, their main job is to put these campers together, okay? Now, they have a side job of checking for quality inspection, okay? And at that point, what they'll do is they'll check for it, make sure everything's working properly, but they do a spot check, okay? They don't check every single camper that comes offline. They don't have time to do that, all right? They're out here trying to produce as many campers as they can and fill their pockets up with as much as they can, okay? Not a bag or not a hit at the manufacturer. They're a business too. I support them, okay? Obviously, that's other stuff. That all being said and done, okay, the manufacturer, okay, they pay the dealerships to do this quality inspection because they don't have time to do it as important or as much as they would like to, as in-depth as they would like to. So what you'll see a lot of the times on some of these campers that have like shortages and things like that, they'll actually send the camper to the dealership missing a radio head, missing a speaker, missing a air conditioner. They will send it to the dealership that way. Now, if that dealership doesn't do the PDI, you're going to be missing a radio head, outside speaker, or air conditioner, or hot water heater. I mean, you name it, you're going to be missing it. So it's important that they do that pre-delivery inspection. But also with the walkthrough, that is your time to make sure that this camper is absolutely good to go. Okay, this is your time to double check their work, because once you take it off their lot, it is yours. And most of these dealerships that are charging this extra fee, they are going to be those dealerships that say it is your problem now. You deal with it. You call the manufacturer, right? And so that all being said, I don't know if anyone's tried to ever call the manufacturer before, but it's like trying to call the IRS. You'll never get through. So that being said, if you do get through, you're lucky, and you got transferred to 6 different places and all this other good stuff. So could you technically waive that? Sure, but it really isn't the best idea.
Yeah, good answer. Thanks. Gary says, looking at different makes and models, how can you tell good quality for not so good? Everyone says they have the best. Well, Gary?
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry, I zoned out for a second. I was trying to read at the same time, and it just didn't work for me.
And Bruce asked about warranty. We're going to talk about warranty stuff on our point number 5 when we dive into that.
Yeah, so Gary basically said, looking at different makes, models, how can you tell good quality from not so good? Everyone says they have the best, of course, and that's kind of a given. Nobody's going to tell you they got a piece of crap. Let's just be honest about it.
What's some ways that he can figure this out?
Ways that you can definitely figure it out is look at the cabinets within the camper. You're going to want solid surface cabinets or solid wood cabinetry. Also,
as opposed
to that pressed wood, particle board. Yeah, that's definitely going to be important. Also, you can check with you can also check the countertops. If the countertops are a laminated wood or a pressed wood, you are going to be able to see that, and it will start peeling probably within the first couple of years, right? So there's another way you can tell on the quality of something. Another way to tell on the quality on like fiberglass sided campers is you can actually go to the sidewalls of a slide, and if there's like this giant bubbling looking wave on it, you just know that this is a poor quality camper. Again, this is on fiberglass sided campers. So
I'll just put up a picture. So there's 2 different types of RV construction.
Yep.
So, and then, they both have advantages.
Yeah, 6 one, half a dozen the other.
Laminate's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're also paying for aluminum framing instead of 2x4 framing, which the price of wood now is probably the same as aluminum, honestly. But, and it's all kind of compressed together. So, but it's fiberglass on the outside. It's all one solid piece, more or less.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is a little easier to change out, though. The conventional construction, the aluminum sidewall, is more like siding. It's like you just take off a piece, put a new piece on. So they have different advantages.
Right.
That's obviously a little bit more cost effective, the conventional construction.
Absolutely.
But so as you start to that's one big question you want to ask after you figure out your floor plan, after you figure out your towing capacity. That's a big one if you're doing trailers. I put together a little thing called towingcalculator.org. I'll put that in the chat. It's a place that you can just go in, put in your vehicle, the year, and it'll tell you what it can tow. So, and you just add a little bit for what you're going to haul with it, like all your belongings and stuff. So you can calculate your towing capacity, and then figuring out your RV type. You kind of start there, right? RVs. I used to think RV meant motorhome, but that's actually the whole category of what we're talking about today. So travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, park models, and then you've got your class A, B, and C motorhomes. And so you kind of pick that, and then you pick your floor plan, pick your towing capacity based on what vehicle you want or have or are getting ready to buy. And then figure out how big of a trailer you want. And then, that's pretty much the process. It's not as hard as it sounds. It gets overwhelming when there's thousands of different types of RVs, but most the manufacturers are making multiple brands and multiple names that are exactly the same. Like 70% of all the parts are coming from one manufacturer called Lippert, makes the chassis for all of them, makes the appliances for all of them, that kind of thing. So it's really... it's just more of a figuring out what you need as far as layout, and then you can match that in pretty much most of the different manufacturers. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And again, everybody's got their own opinion on which one's better in terms of aluminum versus fiberglass sided campers.
Gary asked, is it better to have a single or double axle?
Yeah, again, everybody's got their own opinions on those. Me personally, I don't care. But Some people have better luck with dual axles than single axles. The reason I don't mind is because I use an equalizer hitch. So I've got a real small travel trailer, an FSX single axle camper. That camper, I use an equalizer hitch. It's a weight distribution, sway control hitch. I don't necessarily need the weight distribution because I'm pulling it with a 1 ton. And this camper is only 3,500 pounds. It's a 22-foot camper. It's not very big. Okay, I don't need it to be very big. I drive it through the woods. Okay, so again, mine's aluminum because I drive it through the woods. I don't drive it out on the road. I drive it through the woods because we have woods. I camp out in the back of my property. So,
so about 72% of the folks said that this is their first time buying an RV. That's why I spent some time kind of walking through the basics. But the other ones probably already have one or have had one, and want to obviously not make the same mistake twice or be a little smarter in the crazy environment that we are talking about right now. But what do you say as far as to get the most for their trade-in? Like, what's your recommendation on that?
Don't.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, no, don't trade it in right now. Okay, guys. People talked about used campers on here already, asking questions about used. Right now, the new market has created this bubble for the used market. The fact that I can't get a camper right now unless I order one, or I overpay, one of the two. I can't get a camper right now for 6-7 months. Okay. That being said, if I got a camper trip planned for tomorrow, what am I going to do? I'm going to go look at the used market, see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. It's not just one dealership that's in the situation. It's everybody. It's the entire nation that's in the situation. So now let's throw that into the used market. Say I talk to anywhere between 80 and 90 people a day. Okay. And so that being said, if all 80 and 90 of these people are all looking to camp tomorrow, which most of them are, I'd say a good 75 to 80% of these people are looking to camp ASAP, right?
Yeah.
What these people are doing is they're dumping into the used market. Now they're searching Facebook Marketplace, Google, Google Sales, you have Craigslist, you have RV Trader, all of these different sites that you can sell these campers on. And you've got a large flock of people going to it that normally wouldn't look for a used camper. They're normally looking for new campers, right? That's where they started. But now they're looking for used. And now with everybody there, the demand is so stinking high, you're holding gold. And so basically what happens is you got one person that says, hey, I'll give you 25 for that camper. And they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to kind of let it sit here and see what happens. And the next guy says, hey, I'll offer you 30 for that camper. Hey, I'll offer you 35. And it goes just like that. It's not even an intentional bid site or anything like that. You just basically, as a seller, and this is the cool thing that's going on right now, is that as a seller, you hold all the cards. You can say, hey, look, sorry, I just got an offer in for 26. That's the highest offer right now. If there's something better you'd like to offer, by all means, let me know. But if not, no hard feelings. Don't harm the foul. That doesn't mean that you're a bad guy for wanting more money for what you have, okay?
And people are going to drive from multiple states, like you were saying.
Multiple states away.
It's crazy right now.
Multiple states away. My dad sold his camper to a guy out of Arkansas, and he's here in Ohio. A used camper, okay? Now, granted, he sold it for $4,000 more than what he bought it for 3 years ago. But he drove from Arkansas to come pick it up from there.
Well, that's the thing. People are asking about used versus new and all that, and that's what I was going to say. Like our friends we went camping with in October, they pulled in a 3-year-old used. Well, it was actually 7 years old. They bought it 3 years ago. They paid same price. I had a brand new Wildwood there. They paid at that time. They paid $16,000 for their 3-year-old one, and they loved the floor plan. Everything was the same, pretty much, just brand new. And they're like, "We paid $6,000 or $16,000 for this. How much is this brand new one?" It was like at that time it was $15,500.
Yeah.
They had 7 years on theirs, and this is a brand new one. So
it's just the thing with
so you got to really think about when you are thinking about used.
So that being said, don't trade it in right now. Okay, not until this bubble
just
breaks.
sell it outright. Facebook Marketplace, RVTrader.com, some of those kind of places. We get this question, so I put this up here. Someone that was asking about used, is there warranties and different things. So one thing is inspections. A lot of times if you're buying used, you want to get it inspected. So I put together a couple inspectors that will come out, third-party inspectors that you can just pay $300-400, whatever it is, just to give you peace of mind. I think when you're buying used, big thing to watch out for is water damage. A lot of that's hidden. Buy a moisture meter if you don't have one and go around or something. Like you do not want a water damaged RV. And that's pretty common if they don't take care of the roofs and stuff. So anyways, you can also, someone was asking, can you can get warranties for these used ones.
Yeah, you can.
RVing Solutions, I'll put that in the chat. RVingsolutions.com. Those guys are good at used RV warranties. It's amazing. Like, I'm surprised you can buy a warranty on a 10-year-old RV or 5-year-old RV, but you can. So, I mean,
no, and it's definitely suggestible as well. I mean, we'll talk about warranties here in a minute, but nonetheless, it's definitely suggestible for sure.
Anyways, let's get into I know you got something really big to share that's going to save these guys a ton of money. Like, I had no idea this was going on. That's number 4 here, this big dealer financing secret. But if you want to kind of roll into that and just helping people understand like the whole financing thing, how it's different than cars, and just understand what that's like.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of like RV financing and things along those lines, guys, financing is not a bad thing to do. Okay. Any reputable investment advisor out there will tell you that financing is not a bad thing. Actually, they suggest financing things if you do have money that you have in investments. They suggest you don't pull them out of investments and you keep it in financing. Now, the biggest thing that's going to be different between the two is you need to have a better interest rate on the financing than you do have a return on your investments. Okay. That all being said and done, that is just a small tidbit of information. If you've got a lot of money in investments right now, just make sure that your return is higher than the interest that you would be paying over the course of however long you're keeping the loan out for, and don't pay cash for it. Just finance it. You're making more money leaving it in your investments than you would lose money by financing. Okay, so just first tidbit of information there in regards to that. Secondly, you're going to notice that terms are a whole lot longer on RVs. Okay, that being said, just because they're longer does not mean that that is a bad thing. All right. They all are. If it is a true recreational loan, it is a simple interest loan. So you can't pay it off in half the time, in a year, in 5 years or whatever. Now, a lot of these loans are going to be for 10, 12, 15, or 20 years long. And again, do you have to keep it open that long? No, absolutely not. You don't have to. But the reason why these terms are so long, guys, is because interest rates are higher on these true recreational loans. Okay. So for instance, if you're someone with an 800 plus credit score, you go into a car dealership, you're going to get either between a 1.8 or a 2.3% interest rate over the course of 3 or 4 years, right? That being said, you come to the RV industry side of things, and let's say you're looking at a $50,000 motorhome or a $50,000 fifth wheel, you're going to be looking at anywhere between like $599 and $699 over the course of 240 months. Okay. Now, obviously these are rough numbers, so don't ever quote me on stuff like this. Okay. I just throw that out there always. But nonetheless, and also this stuff changes every other day. So again, this is just as we talk right now, this is currently what they're looking like from time to time. So all that being said, you're looking at over 20 years, you're looking at, like I said, a 5.99 up to 6.99% interest rate. Okay. Now, again, do you have to keep it open for that full 20 years? No, you can keep it open for 10 years and cut your interest rate in half. Okay. So financing is not a bad thing when it comes to recreational vehicles and things along those lines. Just make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Don't let a dealership decide to, stick you behind the 8 ball or anything like that. Just be educated when you come into it.
Nice. All right. You guys ready? Well, before we get to the big dealer finance secret that's going to save these guys a ton, let's answer a couple questions real quick. All right. So Sharon asked, when something's labeled signature or premier, what upgrade should you expect to see? Can you talk about packages that dealers put together?
Yeah. So labels are nothing but labels. Okay. I can have a shirt that says best dad in the world, but if I don't tell you why I'm the best dad, there's no way for you to believe me. Right. Unless you just are very trustworthy. Okay. But let me tell you, in the RV industry, is not okay to be trustworthy. Okay. Very okay to be skeptical about anything and everything when it comes to these campers. Okay. So just because something says signature or premier, or just because something says light or X light, or just because something says polar package or extreme weather camping package or extended seasons camping package. I mean, you guys, the manufacturer does everything they can to try to make something sound better than it actually is. Okay. Granted, do some of these manufacturers put more things in their signature lines or in their premium lines than they will some of their other lines? Sure. But really, let's be honest, we really just need to sit down and look at what's going on between the two. Like, for example, Rockwood, they have a mini light, an ultralight, and a signature ultralight. Okay. Just because it says light on the backside of it does not mean that it's a trash camper. Okay, I get that misconception a lot. All right, that was something that was back in the day, is not anymore. All right, so that for probably the past 10 years, it hasn't been a thing anymore. Okay, so just because it says light does not mean that the camper's trash. All right. That all being said, you have the mini lights, which is kind of their smaller travel trailers. Their ultra lights, which become to be like their mid-line travel trailers. And then their signature ultralights, which is some of their bigger travel trailers and some of their kind of more, I don't know, feature characteristics campers. Okay. Really all you're doing is having the ability to get to those upgrades that you might not have in some of their smaller lines, such as auto leveling. On the signature ultralight with Rockwood, you have an auto level option. On the ultralight option, you don't. Okay. So that's strictly all you're going to be looking at. The construction between all of them are the exact same. Okay. So like the fiberglass, the sidewalls, the flooring, the cabinets, the countertops, all of this stuff is the exact same, but you just might be able to get to yourself some more options to pick from when you go up to a higher line. Now, granted, biggest thing to understand though is once you go to something that is signature or premium or extreme, basically, guys, what you're going to be doing is you're probably going to be stepping up about $10,000. Okay, so just make sure that the options that you're looking at are well worth what you're trying to get.
Mary asked, are RV shows only for new motorhomes? Actually, travel trailers, fifth wheels, everything's going to be at these RV shows. RV shows, I always thought, oh, man, that's the place to go, get the best deal. But then I realized, like, when I started talking to the owners at RV Wholesalers, like, oh, my goodness, like, I didn't realize from a back end what it costs a dealer to transport all these RVs one by one up there, clean them all, staff everything, hotels and meals and like all the stuff that goes into running a trade show kind of thing. Not to mention if it's indoor, then all this, the fees that go with that. I mean, it ends up being hundreds of thousands of dollars that they have to recoup during that sale. And so really the deals aren't going to be the best. I actually produce what's called virtualrvshow.com. I'll put that in here. On the 28th of July, we're doing a 9-hour virtual show where we walk through trailers. We bring in experts and we do education things. Lane will probably walk through a couple of trailers for us. And we go through motorhomes and all different types of trailers and, yeah, the whole gamut and some entertainment. We'll have a lot of fun. We have a really fun comedian, magician host, David, that makes it a good time. So check that out. There'll be a lot of giveaways. That's always nice. You can get a lot of camping stuff. So virtualrvshow.com for that. We're going to send you guys a replay of this webinar about a couple hours after this. You'll get an email. So you don't have to worry about missing a part of this. We'll have that in a link. And then we'll also be putting it up on Facebook or on YouTube. There'll be a YouTube channel if you search for RV Wholesalers. And you'll find their channel, subscribe to that, and you'll be able to get all kinds of educational videos and walkthroughs and stuff all the time there. New ones are going up every week. So, okay. So Barry asked, RVW sales twice a year when? It's not really. We'll talk about, do we have RVW sales twice a year, and when are they?
Honestly, it just depends on when.
Really a sale.
Yeah, it just depends on when the sale they're going to do it. With this big virtual RV show that we have going on, we got a lot of sponsors coming in here. We're actually getting these sponsors to actually contribute monies towards the deals that we put together. You see, we're doing it a little bit different than what your typical, sponsorship does, where a lot of people, they'll just ask for a big lump sum of money of, say $50,000 or something like that to sponsor your product on this big virtual show. Because we've got a ton of people that watch the show with us. These guys do a really good job out there. Showing off these campers and making things funny and things like that. But, we've got sponsors that actually come in, contribute per deal. And so let's just say that on one day we might have two sponsors, both contributing $250 per deal. Now, granted, on these big sale days, we're selling 125, 150 units a day. So these are big deals for RV wholesalers with our pricing where it is. So that all being said, it is very spontaneous. So you just have to reach out. You can reach out to me or reach out to any of our sales reps. We can give you an idea of when the next sale is going to be on that side.
Are you okay if we put up your contact information so that I know Bruce has some questions on the towing calculations and stuff. Can you walk him through that? Like if he emails you or anybody has any questions, feel free to email Lane. We're not going to get to everybody's questions. So we'll have our friends here like type in your contact information. What's your extension?
Yeah, 157.
Sorry, I didn't have a slide for you
You're
today.
fine.
I appreciate you jumping in here last minute for us. So 157. Can you put? We'll have Austin type that up for us. Lane's contact information in his email. So sounds good. Another question. Cecilia wants us to sell her 2021 Keystone Springdale 202 RD. So let's start out a little auction off. We're going to start off at $100. Anybody give me 100? Can you do an auctioneer voice? I'm just kidding.
I can't.
But if anybody needs that, Cecilia's needs to sell her so she can buy 2022. And let's see. I'm looking at specs for my trailer. All it says is seamless countertop. Should it say wood or press board and solid touch one-piece countertop?
Yeah, so like specs on like trying to find specs and things like that on these trailers is really hard to find. It's really going to be more of a looking at the countertop and trying to determine whether or not it's a solid surface countertop or not. You're going to notice that the press laminated board, it'll start to peel. There's actually like a guard that's on the edge where the other one's kind of got like a seamless rollover to it. Okay, so that's how you're going to be able to tell. If it does have seams in it, likely it's not a solid surface. But there are some solid surface countertops out there that do have seams in it. So that's just, again, another way to find out.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. I did not know this until I started working with you guys, but tell us this big dealer financing secret. Like, I want to know. Like, yeah, so I did not know this was going on behind the scenes.
For sure.
So please tell these guys.
It's not necessarily just campers here, guys. Okay, so this is going to apply to your cars, boats, campers, jewelry stores, anywhere that offers third-party financing. When it comes to that, those guys are getting paid money. Okay, and because they're getting paid money, you should ask for some of that money if you choose to finance through them. All right. Now,
so the bank is giving them money for writing these deals, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. And it's a lot of money too, okay? It's not
not just $300.
No, it's not small amounts. I mean, we're talking anywhere between $2,000 up to $10,000, depending on the price.
Okay, so say I buy a $100,000 fifth wheel or a small motorhome.
Yeah.
And it's $100,000. Like,
yeah, I'm going to get paid just about $10,000 on that. If you
$8,000 to $10,000?
Yeah, $8,000 to $10,000.
Okay, so the bank will give you, the dealership, $8,000, $10,000 for writing this finance agreement. Say, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bird dog fee. Hey, thanks for bringing me this business.
What's the official name for it? Like, what are some of the names?
Financial reserve is kind of the name that a lot of people go by.
So dealer reserve.
Dealer reserve. There's a lot of different.
I call it kickback.
Yeah, kickback, bird dog fee, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but you guys got to hold that card and then pop that out. Like if you're buying a car, I don't know, anything. When it comes time to talk about financing, that's when you pull this card out.
And really, it's when it comes down time to talk about price. Negotiation tactics. That's obviously that's my job, so I'm fairly decent at it. I'd like to think, but nonetheless, one of your cards needs to definitely be financing. The very first question you ask them is, "What's your financing look like?" And basically they'll try to explain it to you. It won't make sense because they don't really know what the question is. You'll just ask them outright, "Hey, do you guys do third-party financing?" Just out of curiosity. Is that what you guys plan on doing? And what that means is that they're not doing in-house financing. Okay. So if it's an in-house financing, it's like a buy here, pay here thing. Okay. So that means that the dealership's actually the one making all the interest off of it. They're the ones actually writing the loan. They're the ones fronting the money for you. So again, there's not a ton of those guys out there. So most of the time you're going to be looking at a third-party financing option. So those guys are getting paid. Okay. They're getting paid a lot of money. Like I said, you should be asking for their finance reserve or at least a portion of their finance reserve. All right. On $20,000, you're going to be looking at a finance reserve coming back to them at about anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000, depending on the bank that you go through. So it's okay to ask for that. Okay. But the way you ask for it is not just, "Hey, give me that money." Okay.
Yeah. Give us an example. Like, how would you do this?
Let's say, for example, Tim's trying to sell me an RV, right?
Yeah.
The camper is a $30,000 camper. All right. I am under the assumption that since it is a $30,000 camper, I assume that there's going to be about a $3,000 to $2,500 finance reserve kicked back to Tim. And so what I'm going to tell Tim is I'm going to say, hey, look, Tim, here's what I'll do for you. Okay. I would love to buy this camper off of you, but here's my conditions. Okay. I'm going to give you two options. First and foremost, I would love to pay cash for this camper, but I want to pay $28,000. All right. Now, Tim.
Candy asked this question, so this is really
okay.
great.
Perfect.
This is awesome.
And then basically you say, well, I can't sell it to you at $28,000.
I can't sell it to you.
There we go. And so what I would say is, Tim, I truly understand what you're talking about here, man. I appreciate you responding to me. I tell you what I can do is I can do one of two. Okay, one of the two following things. Okay, I'll pay $28,000 for this camper. I'll either finance through your dealership here because I do understand that you guys will make money off of that, or I can pay cash for it. Okay, it's completely up to you on however you want me to go about doing it. I'm gonna leave that in your hands. I can bring cash. I can finance through your dealership, but my price is $28,000. Okay. Now, that being said, to any sales rep who doesn't really know what they're talking about, they're gonna be like, okay, this makes no sense. I don't understand the question. All right. And then they'll basically go talk to their management because they're gonna have to anyway, right? I have to talk to the manager. Everybody's seen that commercial, right? And so that being said, they'll go talk to the management. They'll actually crunch the numbers. And basically, like I said, just have a mindset of, listen, I'll either finance with you guys or I'll pay cash, but this is the price that I would like to pay. Okay. And then that's where the negotiation starts, because you understand that, hey, look, I can pay this off early. Okay. I've got the cash to do it. I can pay it off early. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. With a very, very, very low amount of money paid in interest. Okay. So,
yeah. So that's the deal. Most of these banks that they're writing these with are about a 12-month stipulation that it has to be financed for 12 months in order for the bank to give the dealership this kickback or this dealer reserve money. So really knowing the rules of the game, that's all you have to keep this loan open for, right? So if Candy, she's been saving whatever, is in a great position to be able to pay cash, doesn't want to waste the money on interest, all she has to do is pay on that first payment, pay off 98% of it, leave just the minimum payments that you need for the next 11 months, pay those, and you've only thrown away just not even $100 probably in interest, right. But you've gained several $1,000s of savings. Yeah.
I mean, even when we're talking, guys, even when we're talking $100,000 camper, okay, $100,000, you get a $10,000 finance reserve on that. That's a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of money to throw away just because you want to, use your own bank or pay cash for it or whatever.
And you can always switch to your bank after that year.
Always refinance. That's the key.
That's one way to do it.
That's the key to sit there and look at it. You can always refinance through your own lender if they have a better rate. Okay, now you're getting the best of both worlds. We can do a small calculation, and I have done it millions of times on the phone with customers. A calculation of difference of interest paid out over the course of 1 year between a set difference in interest rate. Okay. It has to be let's just say for $3,000, the interest rate has to be a total of about 36% difference in interest rate. Okay. That means you got a 0% interest and I have a 36% interest rate over the course of 1 year for it to make more sense for you to go through your local bank at a $3,000 finance discount. All right. So that all being said, guys, that difference in interest rate is never going to be that high. Okay, I think the highest loan we've ever written here at the dealership with one of our partners has been 19%. Okay, so that all being said and done, guys, no matter what your bank comes back at, they will not have a good enough rate to cover the difference of that finance reserve. So what people will do, guys, is they will take the loan out, they'll pay on it for a year, and then they will refinance it after the first year with their local lender. So they got the finance discount, the finance reserve, but they also got the better rate over the course of the term with their local lender. Now, next question I always get, Lane, that's all fine and dandy, but what about new camper interest rates versus used camper interest rates? I would tell you, yes, that does matter if it is past 3 years past current model year. Okay, so most major lenders will actually lend on new camper interest rates up to 3 years after current model year. So we're in 2022 right now. So all the way back to a 2019, they will still give you new camper interest rates. So now that point's a moot point.
Oh yeah, man. Good stuff. Thanks for that lesson. We're running out of time. I want to quickly talk about service and warranties. I know it's a big deal for service is a huge deal. Like you need to figure this out. that's why I've been real impressed with what you guys do with this nationwide service network. It's like you guys have figured out, since you're selling trailers all over the country, you've figured out, hey, we have to take care of people, and people aren't, if they buy local, they're not camping local. So they're traveling, they're going to be somewhere else. Like today, the guy came from Oregon, but he's going to be camping in California, he said. And if his trailer is going to break, it's not going to be when it's sitting at home in Oregon at his yard that he bought from his local dealer that can fix it. So that he's going to be somewhere across the country and needing to get it fixed. And so that's pretty cool that you've created this whole network of what, I don't know, 2,900 or so service centers and mobile service people, and just a whole collection of people you guys have vetted. I think that's pretty cool. You just make a quick phone call to a concierge. They say, hey, where are you at? And then try to figure out how to get you guys serviced and pay the bills for the warranty stuff before the service work's done and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. But yeah, warranties, that's another topic for another day. But real quickly, there's two types: stated and exclusionary. Stated basically is an extended service contract that states what's covered. So only those things stated are covered. So if it says the refrigerator is covered, it may not say the inverter is covered. And if the inverter goes bad and damages the fridge, then you have an issue. So stated is not your best coverage. Your best coverage is called an exclusionary. It's kind of the flip side. It's everything is covered excluding these items. So only things like brake pads, like kind of wear and tear kind of items, right? I mean, those are excluded, and it makes sense. But it's a small list, but it's a list that says these things are excluded. That's going to get you your best coverage. So if you're thinking about warranties, which I think is a really good idea, actually, after driving these things around for the last few years and seeing how bumpy the roads are, it's like, oh my goodness, how does anything live up to the stand up? So it's definitely going to be worth the money, I think. And if you're budgeting, maybe plan on 8 to 10% for a really good one. You want one that's going to pay the bills. The one that pays the bills is exclusionary. Just remember that, exclusionary.
Before we jump off, Tim, I got to say something here.
Yeah.
Cecilia, I know that you mentioned something here, and I mean, it's a huge red flag. I mean, I'm that's why I wanted to stop everything and just
and it's a private, so you might want to
so basically the statement goes, she states that she can either tell them that she can use their own bank, like I was talking with the financing and how to go about the negotiation. She said she's supposed to pick up her camper on Saturday, and she still doesn't have the exact monthly payment from them yet. They said they wouldn't know it until they sit down when I go in and pick up the camper. And then, so the biggest thing here is what we talked about with these hidden fees and things like that. I know that you had mentioned previously that they were charging different fees, but the biggest problem that you're going to run into here is when you do sit down, that's when you've already walked through the camper. Okay. That's when they have the hooks in you, for lack of a better term. Okay. Please, for the love of God, find out what that payment is, okay, before you go in.
Yeah, call them this week before don't wait till Saturday to pick up. Yeah, because at that point they know they have you.
Yeah, at that point you're not going to get up and walk away. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about $10,000 is really only a couple hundred. It's like $100 a month or something like that, or it's like $10 a month. You know what I mean? It is $10 a month, so it can be justified. Hey, $10 a month. I can do $10 a month. For my camper, and I don't have to wait for it. You know what I mean? So for the love of all things holy, give them a call, get your payments, find out all the fees that they're charging, find out the exact price that's going to be sitting on the bottom line when you go to sign that contract, because that is what's going to matter.
Tax, title, everything.
And then shop it. All right. Shop it.
Yeah. Because
if they're charging all these fees, that means that they are going to be more expensive. If they won't give you, it's got shady written all over it. And I apologize. I know you really want that camper. I know you got to pick it up Saturday, but for the love of all things great, please, like I said, shop it. Okay. Try to figure out what's going to be good for you.
I just put up your contact information again, Lane, on the chat. Folks, I know we don't have time to get to all these questions, but please reach out to Lane. In fact, I'll tell you what, if you end up finding an RV that he's got in stock here, I will, let's see, what can I do? I want to give him some incentive. So take a screenshot of this thank you page here and email Lane and ask him what he can do to tell them that you listened to the webinar with Tim, and you want a special deal, and see what he can do for you. Because I appreciate you guys taking time. I appreciate you, Lane, spending time with us today. Wish we could keep going, but man, great questions and good input, Lane. Thanks for all those tips, and I think we've helped a lot of people stay in the boat, let's say, in our little rubber raptor as we go down our dinghy, as we go down the rapids. Well, hopefully not the rapids, but I'll see you this week. I'll let you know how Smoky Mountains go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what's my favorite? One of the things on my bucket list, which I haven't got to, is this in this picture right here. Let us know what you guys want to do with your RVs, your dream, as you say goodbye here. But mine is go see the president's it's up on Mount Rushmore. But I'm curious what some of your guys' are. Lane.
My bucket list is definitely going to be up in Minnesota. That is my comfort place, for lack of a better term. We got a cabin up there already, and so we've got quite a few lakes up there that I want to visit myself and kind of kick around. I'd also like to go up to Alaska, Canada, and things like that. I'm a wilderness man. So
David Jernell, one of the owners of RV Wholesalers, he's actually doing a Class C road trip out west. That could be. I think they are trying to get to there.
They are going to Rushmore.
And Cecilia, one more follow-up. She said she's thinking about holding off and selling it privately because they only offered her $17,000. Just Lane, you have an NADA book, and you can kind of tell, and then the environment, so you can probably help her know, like, hey, this is probably, you're better off selling it outright. Well, guaranteed you're better off selling it outright. Because they're just going to turn around and sell it, and they have to pay commission and all that stuff. So they're obviously have to give you a low price on it. So, all right, cool. Thank you, guys. Happy camping soon. Thanks for learning, and it's been fun teaching you guys. Take care.